Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Sagittarius. If Sagittarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so Sagittarius, tonight we have the Queen of Swords. Which is funny because the Capricorn reading I just did, they had the Princess of Swords. So we have like very feminine, sword, air, just sharp thinking energy tonight. I love the Queen of Swords because if you look at this, she is the unmasker, the revealer, right? Nothing gets by this one. She sees you for what you are immediately. You cannot trick her. Okay, and let's see. What are the tea leaves going to tell us tonight? So we have a number 2 right in the middle there. So you can see right there. And I'm just going to turn this. And so if you have not subscribed yet, if you haven't subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Also, if you want to hit the like button or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. Okay. So the first thing I want to to show here is we have the name Job or Job, but it looks like Job to me, right? I mean, they're both spelled the same way, but I'm thinking Job, as in Job from the Bible. Now, if you don't know the story, I'm not going to tell it to you. You're out of luck. No. Basically, though, the gist of it is this guy had a lot of faith, right? He's like a ride or die for God. Absolutely. You cannot tell him any different. Although, right, he was going through it. He continued to go through it. He went through it like nobody else you've ever met, right? And these are, I kind of framed as like divine ordeals, right? Put there in place to, I don't know, prove his allegiance or his faith, or to, slowly open his heart, through struggle and loss and treachery and all these things that he went through. But he still remained fully in his spirituality, his faith, all of this, okay? And so I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, you've been through it. There's no other way of saying it. You have been through a lot. And you have at times maybe felt like you weren't going to be able to keep going, right? Like you just want to give up. And you didn't let yourself. You have not let yourself. I feel like there are 3 people that are often coming to you for, I don't know, favors or money, or they just like, I'm thinking of like adult kids. They just can't get it right. They are making mistake after mistake, relying on you to figure it out for them. Now, I don't think that you mind this for the most part, right? It's like any, 25-year-old kid you have. If they really need to bring over their laundry to do it, then yeah, come over and do your laundry, right? But it feels like, and here is what I'm looking at. We have 1, 2, 3 people. in front of this person here who's throwing their head back, kind of like, oh my gosh, come on, you know, overwhelmed. And I think that's what it is. It's like when you're done trying to fix one thing for one person, the next person is like, okay, well, I just need you for a minute. Can you help me with? And it's just, you're being pulled in so many directions that I feel like you often don't even think about yourself. I even wonder, this really rang through my head just now. It's kind of like you look at your watch at like 1 in the afternoon and you think, I haven't even eaten today. As soon as I woke up, people asking me for stuff. They need help here. I gotta do this. I gotta run over here. And you don't even realize I have not eaten. Now I'm starting to feel like my blood sugar is low and I don't feel that great. And oh wow, I haven't eaten today. And you know, I don't think that this is like a one-off. This is something that happens a lot with you. And so I do feel like there maybe is this concerted effort, right, from the universe, from your guardian angel, from your elders, your ancestors, whoever it is, your spirit guide, to really get your attention like, hey, something needs to happen here because you have to prioritize yourself. You can't go on like this. Now, I want to look, we have a bird right here. You can see, looks like the sun is kind of right above its shoulder. And I feel like this is a person, and I'm wondering if it is like your mom or grandma or some elder who has transcended. They've already left. They have left their physical form. They've passed on, and they hang around. I mean, they watch out for you. They're always kind of coming and visiting you. The cardinals, maybe it's the blue jays, maybe it's the blackbirds. You have some bird that you see and you know that that is them. And they're always coming around. So I feel like this is maybe who is really, you know, putting forth a lot of effort to get you to notice, like, hey, you gotta make some time for yourself. Because you spend so much of your energy, your resources, and yeah, your time as well on other people. And I think that's just kind of how you are. But, right, sometimes it's to the detriment of your own being, your own life, okay? Now let's see. I want to look. Yeah, this is the one. Here we go. So we have right here the formation of the Hanged Man. Okay. And so the Hanged Man really for me represents a time to let go of something, a time to sacrifice something, a time to decide, okay, I gotta let go of this. I'm not gonna wait for my tower moment. I'm not gonna wait for the death card. I wanna make the choice. I wanna be in charge of this. And yeah, it could be anything. Walking away from a relationship, a job, you know, something like, well, for me, I've had to give up coffee. Now, I've had coffee since I quit drinking it regularly. I used to drink like all day, right? And somewhere in the early part of the year, I stopped because it was, I think I was having so much anxiety and, well, panic attacks, and I don't know, it just wasn't making, I was not feeling good. It wasn't making me feel good. And finally I gave it up. I had been drinking coffee so long that I didn't think I'd ever manage. Now I still have one once in a while. You know, I won't lie to you about that, but every once in a while I do. But this to me is like a great representation of the Hanged Man card. It is something that I love. It is something that I enjoy. But you know what? It was not serving me well anymore. It just wasn't. And that's not to, I'm not saying anything bad about coffee. If you drink coffee, drink it up. Enjoy it. Have one for me, please. I love it. But, you know, sometimes we have to part ways with our beloveds. And so I see this in your future. And I think it really has to do more with allowing yourself the space to change some of the things that you are doing in your life. Prioritizing different things, maybe yourself, right? Putting yourself up there with everybody else's needs. And I know that won't be easy, and it will take some kind of shuffling things around, but I really feel like this is the year where you need to get on it, okay? I don't like to tell people what to do, but listen, we all been there where we are living for other people. If it's our young children, if it's our spouse, if we're taking care of our parents, they're getting older, they need a lot of help. We've all been there in one way or another, but the thing that stands out about a Sagittarius is that a lot of you just naturally have this kind of caretaker instinct. And not only that, very, very loyal and devoted to family. And if that's your blood family, your chosen family, your work family, whoever it is, doesn't matter. That's your people, and you are going to show up for them, for better or worse sometimes. And so I know it will take some effort, but you gotta do something for yourself, even if it's just like one thing, right? You carve out like, you know, a half an hour on one afternoon a week so you can go, you know, I don't know, go for a walk in the park, or maybe go fishing on Sunday mornings, or, you know, whatever it is, finding something that is for you, that you need, that you want, okay? But also on the other side, it could be stuff like going to the doctor for the first time in a long time. Going and spending money, splurging on yourself to get your eyes checked and get a new prescription and new glasses. I know. I cringe when I think about how much glasses, well, now they're a little cheaper if you do it online, of course, but you know, it used to be that they were like $400 for, you know, a decent pair. And that's a lot. Who can afford that very often? But sometimes, right, we have to stop and we have to really think of, this is going to be for the betterment of, you know, my life, how I'm living, how I'm feeling. And so, you know, these things, they come up, and the universe will nudge us continually until, and you don't want this to happen until you don't have a choice, right? It's like I tell my husband sometimes, I'm like, you know, I wouldn't mind needing like just a very minor surgery of some kind, just so I could go be at the hospital and sleep. Nobody waking me up, well, when they check you and stuff, but you know, just like some way to be able to get some rest without being woken up for something. You know, and I think a lot of people, not that we really want this to happen, I'm being absurd, of course, but I feel like a lot of us are like this, where, you know, it would take a lot for us to be selfish, you know, and take a dang nap or whatever. But here's the thing, we also have, the eye right here, okay? We also have the little house right here. And I feel like there is a blessing really coming. Now, we also have a person kind of showing up. You can see they're like getting out of their little boat right? The dog is running to greet them. So I do feel like you have somebody who is going to kind of like a blast from the past, showing up, well received. I feel like this is somebody that I almost wonder if this is like a sibling or maybe like an old love interest and it has been rekindled or something, but I feel like there's a partnership here. This is somebody that you know well enough where you could definitely see, like, trust them to do what you need them to do. They also know how you want things done, right? And so I feel like having this person show up in this time, it almost feels like, oh yes, the universe is listening. And yeah, you can't deny that. It does listen. Does it always do what we want? No, of course not. But this will be a big help for you. And that eye over the house, really, yes, it is like a watchful eye, but it's also like an eye of caring. So I feel like there is a sense of security that really, really is important for you. That's the other big thing about Sagittarius people is that you really, really like this consistency and safety and knowing like this is my family. I can trust that they're going to be there for me. I'm going to be there for them, and so on and so forth. So I really feel like all of this coming together, even through some of the hardships, even through maybe, you know, wishing things had been a little bit different, you're making the best of it. You always do. Now, we also have the number 19. I just want to say 19. Okay. Now, let's take a look here. We have a person that is picking, harvesting something. And we have the name, it looks like Anna. A-N-A, Anna. Yeah, gardener of some kind. Now you can see that they have like some kind of like machete or something, like down, cutting off your cabbage or whatever. Oh, cabbage right out of the garden. Oh my gosh. My favorite. We also have a volcano in the background. So, somebody who I almost feel like this is somebody who gardened a lot and spent a lot of time doing like outside work. And I think it honestly had to do with their relationship. Like your grandmother and grandfather, right? Grandma was always out in the garden working, staying away from grandpa, I think is the big deal here. And I think it's because there's such a volatility there. Feeling like just could go off about anything at any time. And so everybody around this guy like kept themselves busy doing things unseen, right? Because if I'm busy and I'm unseen, then he's not gonna like, you know, freak out. He's not gonna bring me into like whatever his bad mood is or whatever, single me out, notice me, just. And so I feel like there's this almost kind of lingering effect of wanting to always be a little bit stealth, unnoticed, to like, you're happy being a part of everything, but as long as you're not singled out, right? You like to be the observer. You like to know how things are going. You like to take the temperature of the room. And, you know, I think that happens when we come from families that have people that have unregulated emotions, addiction, you know, different kinds of mistreatment, all the way up into abuse. especially verbal, emotional, but also physical and essay and all these things. But always kind of watching what people are doing. Why are they doing it? You know, you're always kind of analyzing. Now, I think that is really that Queen of Swords energy, okay? Let's go over here. We're going to use the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, and I want to just ask, what is this next period of time going to be like going into the new year? Because we're right at the end of the year. It's wild. I don't believe it, but it's true. Somehow, some way, it's true. The year is almost over, which seems ridiculous, but here we are. Excuse me. Here we are. So we're going to do a few cards. We're just going to kind of see what's going on. We have practicality. I like that. Practical living. Romance. All right. So there's that romantic relationship maybe. A little eccentric. Also like that. Idealism. Okay, versatility. That sounds good. Oh, until we got there. Extremism. Okay. All right. So there's the issue. There we go. Okay, so I do feel like this has to do with your relationship or the one that's building into a relationship. Now, you're both very practical people. Okay, and that's why you work well together. I feel like you know, this is what you prioritize, is the practical. Now, I feel like your partner usually prioritizes the same things, but I think like as you get maybe a little bit more comfortable, there's more of this kind of utopian idealism, or maybe this person's like a daydreamer. They're like, oh, what if we did this, or what if we did that? And it's kind of like they just like to daydream out loud, right? And not often really put in the effort to actually do the things that they are dreaming about doing. And so I feel for you, this at times can be kind of maddening, right? Or hard to kind of, okay, yeah, we can talk about this all day long, but are we actually ever going to do anything to like make it happen, right? And, you know, so I think that's going to be one of the first sore spots. The other thing I feel like is that this is a person, and I also believe this is very much you as well, at least the versatility, the ability to kind of do many things, to be in a lot of different situations. You're good at navigating, figuring things out, and so on. But I feel like for this other person, it's kind of more like they just are into so many things that they don't ever like master one thing. And there's just not a lot to show for it. And I feel like as you get more involved with this person, you start to realize like, okay, this is like somebody who's, a lot of them is talk. A lot of them is talk, which is fine, but it's like you have to go through this kind of stripping down process to figure out who or what is going on really here, okay? Now we have the extremism. So I don't know if this is about a ideology, a spiritual movement, a religion, if they just kind of think in extremes, like black and white thinking, they overvalue or undervalue. There's not a lot of in the middle. But I feel like this is difficult for you. It's difficult for you. Because in a lot of ways, you just want things to like go with the flow. Let's do what we need to do and, you know, let life kind of lead us. But of course, we'll be proactive. But I don't need to like kind of have these, you know, really formulated or like you know, really established, you know, big things in life to like make it seem like there's some kind of meaning. Which, by the way, it's fine if people do, right? But I think for you, it's kind of like you just want to live your life. And this person, I think, maybe has a tendency toward really kind of clinging to different movements or different schools of thought. I wouldn't be surprised if they've been involved in like a lot of different, well, if you are like a magical practitioner, different grade systems, or you know, like they're in Theosophy, they're in the OTO, they're, you know, want to go join some Gnostic temple, or, you know, all these things, which are fine. Nothing's bad about any of them. But when you're overextended, you know, they're not good at making a choice, like a clear choice. And I think that is hard for you. That's what's hard for you. Okay. Now let's go ahead. We're going to do our 3 lucky numbers here. Oh, there we go. 41. That one was getting exciting. I was like, where are you going to go? Oh, 41. 85. 41, 85. 72. All right. Very good. Okay, and then to end the reading, we're going to do our Mary Magdalene Oracle cards, okay? And I like to use these Oracle cards because they kind of like punctuate the reading and leave us with something nice to think about usually. So I will flip and I'll stop right here, and it says, witness, I am fully seen. I am fully seen. All right. Okay, Sagittarius, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Also, if you want to leave a comment, I read them all. I'd love to hear from you. And with that, again, I'll say, I love you, I love you, I love you. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk in a few days. Good night.